All right, so we've got this crazy story about a neighbor dispute that gets totally out of hand.
Oh, wow.
It all starts with a drone.
Yeah.
A dog
Yeah.
named Max, and just like tons of tension.
Right.
Just think about where this could go.
Sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Exactly. So let's meet our main character here,
Yeah.
Emma.
Okay.
She's 32 years old, and she just wants to enjoy her backyard with her dog, Max.
Nice, simple life.
Right.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong?
Enter Todd.
Oh, no.
He's the 35-year-old neighbor. With a
Oh,
drone.
no, drone.
Yeah.
And he likes to fly it over her yard.
Particularly when it would agitate Max.
Wait, he was intentionally flying the drone over her property? Just to bother her dog?
Yeah.
Why?
It's not totally clear if it was just to bother the dog, but Emma did repeatedly ask him to stop.
Okay, and what did he say?
Well, Todd told her that she couldn't tell him what to do, and he claimed that he doesn't own the air.
Oh, he pulled that one, huh? So did Emma just have to put up with this constant buzzing?
Not exactly one day, when Todd was flying his drone over Emma's yard, Max decided that he had enough.
What did he do?
And he jumped up and he caught it midair.
He caught the drone.
He did.
Whoa, what happened to the drone?
It did not end well for the drone.
I can imagine.
Max's jaws kind of turned it into a pile of plastic and wires.
Oh my goodness. So the drone's grounded for good.
It is grounded for good.
I bet Todd was not happy.
Todd was furious.
Yeah.
He stormed over to Emma's house,
Oh boy.
demanding that she pay him $900 for the drone immediately.
$900. Did she
Wow.
pay?
No, she refused.
Good for her.
Yeah, she stood her ground, and she just shut the door in his face.
That's awesome. So that was it, right? Problem solved.
No, unfortunately not. Todd was set on revenge.
What did he do?
He called the police a few hours later.
No way.
Yeah, and he claimed that Emma was refusing him access to retrieve his broken drone.
Was that true?
According to Emma, Todd never even asked to retrieve it. He just started yelling and demanding payment.
Oh my gosh, typical. So the police came. What'd they do?
The police, thankfully, they listened to both sides. They saw the wreckage of the drone, and they left without taking any action against Emma.
That's good.
Yeah, they probably recognized this was just a neighborly squabble.
Yeah, they had bigger fish to fry, so Todd just let it go, right?
He did not let it go. This is where things take a turn
Okay.
for the even more absurd.
What did he do?
Todd decided to sue Emma for the cost of his drone in small claims court.
What? He's suing her?
Yeah, he sued him.
For a drone that her dog destroyed? That he was using to harass her?
He was determined to get his money back.
Okay, so what did Emma do?
Well, thankfully for Emma, her mother-in-law, Linda, is a paralegal secretary.
Oh, that's handy.
Very handy. She stepped in to help Emma prepare for the court case.
Great. So what did Linda do to help?
Well, she helped her consult with a lawyer.
Yeah.
And they quickly found some interesting legal angles.
Okay, what?
Well, for one thing, they discovered that their neighborhood is within 5 miles of an airport. And flying a drone that close to an airport, especially without proper authorization, and especially flying it out of sight or at high altitudes, as Todd had been doing, big no-nos.
Yeah, FAA violation.
FAA violation.
So could she countersue?
Exactly. So seeing this, Emma got ready to fight back. She contacted the FAA to report Todd's reckless flying habits, and she started gathering evidence for her defense in the lawsuit.
Like what?
Well, she collected police reports from both the drone incident and the times that Todd had harassed her previously.
Oh, okay.
She took photos of her backyard, showing her 8-foot privacy fence to prove her reasonable expectation of privacy. And she even gathered medical bills from Max's vet visits.
Wait, medical bills for Max. Was he hurt by the drone?
He wasn't physically hurt, no, but he was definitely stressed out
Yeah,
by Todd's constant drone buzzing. The vet bills showed x-rays, medication, and even sedation
Oh, wow.
to highlight the negative impact Todd's actions was having on Max.
So she built a really strong case, showing that his harassment was affecting both her and her dog's well-being.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about Todd? What was his defense for the lawsuit?
You're not going to believe this.
What?
Todd claimed that Emma had maliciously installed a picnic table in her backyard.
A picnic table?
A picnic table? To train Max to jump high enough to catch his drone.
Seriously?
A picnic table?
He was trying to claim that Emma was deliberately setting Max up to destroy his drone.
That sounds absolutely ridiculous. What did she say?
Emma calmly explained to the judge that the picnic table was for her own use.
Well, yeah, of course.
For meals outdoors. And she emphasized that it was Todd's constant drone harassment That caused Max so much anxiety that he reacted the way he did.
Right. So it all came down to the judge's decision. Who did they side with?
This is where it gets really satisfying. The judge saw right through Todd's ridiculous claims and sided completely with Emma.
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew it. So what happened to Todd? Did he have to pay? Absolutely. The judge dismissed Todd's claim for the drone and ordered him to pay Emma nearly $2,000 for Max's vet bills.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And what about flying over her property?
Oh, and on top of all that, the judge banned Todd from ever flying his drone over her property again.
Wow, what a win.
It was a major win.
Amazing.
Emma was relieved. She finally got her peace and quiet back.
Good. What about the FAA investigation? Did she ever find out what happened with that?
Well, that's where things get a little more complicated. The details of FAA investigations are confidential, so we don't know the exact outcome.
So we're left with a cliffhanger. I'm dying to know what consequences Todd might be facing from the FAA. Maybe we can uncover more details as we continue our deep dive.
Let's see what else we can unearth. This case is fascinating because it really highlights how quickly seemingly simple disputes can spiral out of control, especially when technology like drones is involved.
Absolutely. I'm ready to keep digging.
So this case, it really brings up this question of property rights and airspace, like where exactly does one end and the other begin?
Yeah, because we typically think of our property like extending upwards. So did Todd actually have a legal right to fly that drone over her yard?
It's kind of a gray area. Technically, the FAA controls the airspace,
Okay.
but there are rules in place to protect people's privacy and safety, especially in residential areas.
Right. So even though he claimed he could fly wherever he wanted because he didn't own the air, that wasn't really true.
Not entirely. The FAA has regulations regarding altitude, proximity to airports, and even harassment.
Okay.
And it seems like Todd may have been breaking several rules, especially with his behavior towards Emma and Max.
So you mentioned that Emma repeatedly asked Todd to stop flying his drone over her yard. So did she try to resolve this before it went to court?
Yeah, she did. She tried to reason with him and asked him to respect her property,
Okay.
but he just dismissed her concerns, and he continued flying his drone over her yard, sometimes even lower than before.
So he knew that she was upset about it,
Mm-hmm.
but he just didn't care.
It seems that way. Unfortunately, some people are just unreasonable, and they think they can do whatever they want without consequences.
Well, I want to go back to Max for a moment, because he really became the unexpected hero of this story.
He did. His actions, although instinctive, they ultimately set off this chain of events that led to Emma's victory.
But legally speaking, was Max in the wrong for destroying the drone? Like, could Todd have argued that Max was Emma's property, and therefore she was responsible for the damage?
Yeah, that's a really interesting legal question. It touches on this concept of property rights versus self-defense, even for animals.
Right. So could she argue that Max was acting defensively,
Hmm.
protecting himself from a perceived threat?
Potentially, yeah. Think of it like a stand-your-ground law, but for dogs.
Okay.
It could be argued that Max, being an animal, reacted instinctively to what he perceived as a threat in his territory.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially considering that Todd was deliberately provoking him with the drone. It wasn't as though Max went looking for trouble.
Exactly. And that likely played a significant role in the judge's decision to side with Emma. Todd's deliberate actions created the circumstances that led to the drone's destruction.
Right. This whole case is a stark reminder that technology can create these new types of disputes.
Yeah, it highlights this need for greater awareness about drone regulations. As drones become more and more prevalent, it's just crucial that people understand the rules and responsibilities and the potential consequences of their misuse.
Right. You mentioned the FAA investigation earlier. Is there anything you can tell us about potential outcomes without, revealing state secrets?
While the specifics are confidential, I can say that the FAA takes reports of reckless drone operation very seriously.
Okay.
They have various options, from issuing warnings and fines to even revoking drone licenses, depending on the severity of the violation.
So it's possible that Todd could face serious consequences beyond the court ruling.
Absolutely. The FAA has a responsibility to ensure the safety of the airspace for everyone.
Regardless of what happens with the FAA, Emma's win in court sends a really powerful message.
It does. It shows that individuals can successfully stand up to harassment, even when it involves, emerging technologies like drones.
And it also highlights the importance of having a supportive network. Emma's mother-in-law, Linda, was instrumental in helping her navigate this legal battle.
You're right. Linda's knowledge and support undoubtedly empowered Emma to fight back.
So this case goes beyond just a drone and a dog.
It certainly does. It brings up questions about property rights, personal space, the ethical use of technology, and even the legal implications of animal behavior.
Yeah, there are so many layers to this seemingly simple neighborhood dispute.
It's a prime example of how our legal system is constantly evolving to address these new challenges that arise as technology advances.
And I'm curious to see what lasting impact this case may have on future drone regulations in similar situations.
Let's explore some of those potential implications as we continue our deep dive.
So could this case, actually set a legal precedent for future drone-related disputes?
It's certainly possible. This case demonstrates that courts are really starting to grapple with how existing laws apply to this new technology. The judge's ruling in favor of Emma could definitely be cited in future cases involving drones and property rights.
That's really interesting. So do you think this could lead to changes in laws or regulations surrounding drone usage?
It's definitely a possibility. Lawmakers may revisit those existing drone regulations and perhaps, lead to clearer guidelines on where and how drones can be flown, especially in residential areas.
That would make a lot of sense. As drones become, even more common, it's crucial to have clear rules to minimize conflicts
Yeah.
and to protect people's privacy and safety.
Absolutely. It's not just about preventing negative incidents like what happened to Emma and Max, but it's about promoting responsible and ethical drone usage. I mean, drones have incredible potential for goods. Think search and rescue operations,
Mhm.
environmental monitoring, even package delivery.
Right. But that potential can only be realized if people use them safely and respectfully.
Right. Exactly. It's about finding that balance between innovation and responsibility.
I'm kind of curious about Emma. Do we know how she's doing now after all of this?
I don't have any specific updates on Emma, but I imagine she's pretty relieved to have this ordeal behind her. She stood up for herself and she won. And I'm sure that's empowering. Plus, she's got those trail cameras, for extra peace of mind.
Oh, that's good. So beyond the legal victory, it seems like this whole experience brought to light a lot of important issues.
It did. This case highlighted how technology, even something as seemingly harmless as a drone, can become a source of conflict, especially when it comes to personal boundaries and privacy.
Yeah, and it also emphasizes the importance of communication and empathy. Todd's blatant disregard for Emma's concerns was a major factor in how this escalated.
You're right. Just a simple conversation,
Hmm.
a willingness to listen and understand could have prevented this entire situation. It's a reminder that behind every drone, every piece of technology, there's a human being, and we
Wow.
need to treat each other with respect.
Such a powerful message. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left with this thought. How can we harness the amazing potential of technology while still fostering respect for individual rights and promoting positive relationships with our neighbors?
That's the question we all need to consider. It's about finding ways to coexist peacefully and responsibly in an increasingly technology-driven world.
Well said. This deep dive has been a roller coaster. Legal twists, ethical dilemmas, and ultimately a story of resilience. It's a reminder that we all have a role to play in shaping how technology impacts our lives and our communities. Thanks for joining me on this journey.